You ever have sleep paralysis? I'm sure most people here would know what it is. It's really kind of, it's a weird phenomenon that no one seems to really have an answer for. Certainly not science. I don't know what they even say it is. I've never even looked into that. But I used to have it all the time, since I was a kid. And I always tell my parents, like, there was no lady. Is what they tell me I used to tell them, and I don't remember actually telling them that, but I knew throughout the years of having it happen all the time, I had sleep paralysis. I mean, when I say I got it all the time, I don't know, well, like it wasn't constant, but it was like more like occasional. Occasionally it would happen throughout the years. And I'd moved into a new house, and I was just trying to get used to the vibe of the place. Had a lot of darkness in it, but or at least that's what I was perceiving in the beginning. Ended up living there for 10 years though, so obviously I worked it out. But I was getting them bad, and I think it was maybe because it was a new environment. Who the fuck knows what it was, but it wasn't like it wasn't something I thought a lot about. It was just something that would happen. So one morning, and this is in 2003, so it's over 20 years ago, just about 20 years. I don't know math. I'm not a mathematician. I shouldn't be held to the standard of one. So I'm waking up one day, and it's happening. And a lot of times I would yell, like not like a woman or a black guy seeing a mouse, just more like like that kind of yelling out of anger. And I wake up one morning, and the room was bright. It was bright in the room, so it's probably late morning, and it's happening. And I felt there was someone in the room, like you do. There's not anyone there on this level of existence, this plane of existence, but you feel as if they are. You can feel their presence as if they are. I mean, for all intents and purposes, someone might as well be just standing in the room. You can feel their presence, you can feel their space, the whole thing, And yeah, I did. I don't think I thought about doing this. I just did it. In my mind, I leaped out of the bed and went charging right for the thing, yelling. I'm like, yeah! And I saw myself, not really saw myself, but in my mind's eye or whatever, I got out of my bed and lunged at it. I didn't do that though. I was still laying in bed. I projected myself. Toward it. Hang on a second. So yeah, I lunged at this thing, ready to I don't know, fight it. I got the haymakers loaded up, like I'm just gonna start swinging at this fucking thing. And like I heard like a pop, like a pop. And I woke up, and I hadn't jumped out of my bed. I was still in the bed, and that was the last time I had that happen to me. I'd never had another one again. Never had another one again ever. That was it. So whatever happened, I think I scared the shit out of it or something. But yeah, I did. I got rid of it. It never showed up again. That was it. All right, well, that's my fucking story. Yeah, I noticed I have in these kind of supernatural jam-ups or, interfaces I have, like the first demon one that I saw in person in 1996. I went for it. It, you know, in a much slower way. You know, we happen to see a demon on the, now you can't see a demon here because they're incorporeal. You can see them in photographs, you can see them in video, but when they're around you here in the world, you can't see them. But on this night, it was a solstice. So the veil between worlds is a little bit, fluctuates, you know, you could see things in it. And somehow, we were seeing into the dimension that she existed and that she was solid, and we could see into it. I don't know what I gotta do here. Yeah. Sorry, I get thrown off sometimes. I get a lot of people on me. And it was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Still, like, I think about the fear from that day or that night, and I've never experienced anything like that again. You know, I haven't told that story in a while, so I like to rotate some of these in and out. Music's gay music. Oh, that's the dude with this dude. We saw him like last week, right? With a super loud radio. That's not how loud that is. That music is so gay too. Like if you, and it's not him. They all listen to that gay shit, you know. Now there's not even. I mean, they don't do island music anymore. It's like it's banned here. You know, it sucks. It's too bad. Like you used to hear that a lot, and it was like, well, that to me made sense and made me feel like I was actually in Hawaii. And yeah, you don't hear it even coming out of cars. Well, a lot of the fucking islanders are gone. They got rid of them. That's another story that should probably come back around soon about how that operation happened. I was talking to someone on Instagram about that recently. They mentioned something about that. We were talking about crime, or you know, I don't know how we got on it, but I was like, yeah, what happened here is a military operation, the same one that's happening in every Western city, and this is considered a Western city, even though it's the Kingdom of Hawaii. The U.S., you know, to me, it's an occupied territory. I mean, come on. But the U.S. considers it one of the cities, so it's a Western white city. However ridiculous that might sound being here, they consider it one. So this military operation is being done and has been done in every Western white city. Anywhere there's, you know, white people, they add this new element to it. And that's another whole story. I did a lot of shit on that, though. I feel like some of you guys that have been here for a while have heard that fucking pale woe so many times. Let me go. I'm going to tell that demon story again real quick. I won't fucking drag it out too long, but I'm just going to run into ABC and get a copy. I'll be right back. Alright, yeah, so the year is 1996. Easter. It's 1996, right? It's not 1995. Is it 1995? No, it's 1996. I was living on the border of Lawrence and Methuen, Massachusetts. Suburbs that are like 40 minutes north of Boston. It was up by the New Hampshire line. This is the solstice, the one that happens around Easter. I think it may have actually been Easter. But I know there's also a solstice. Anyway, this place I lived was also a comic book store. This was the third comic book shop I had opened, and it would be the final one. And up front was the store, you know, all the stuff, the comics and counters and everything. And when you went through a door, it led into this apartment area that had 2 bedrooms, bathroom, kitchen. It's pretty cool. So I'd work at the comic store during the day, and then, you know, when we close up, you just go go walk in the back. Or a lot of times we'd turn the lights off in the store and just hang out by the counter just so we could watch the street, you know, just to be looky-loos. At the time, one of the guys from my band, or the band I was in at the time, was living with me, my friend John, and it was raining. It was a rainy night. And we were just, you know, hanging out. I think we were probably smoking a little pot, which always makes people say, like, oh, see? It's like, no, this has nothing to do with weed. You don't, like, hallucinate on weed. Unless it's, like, laced with fucking PCP or something. And then all of a sudden, this car comes screeching up in front of the store. Now the store is on a street. It's on kind of a busy street. And you can park parallel in front of my store. There's like parking spaces. So this car comes tearing up. Like, ah! Jams on its brakes. And kind of slides in to the parking spot. And we're like, who the fuck is that? You know, we were used to our friends coming by. And they would sometimes just, you know, park in front of the store. And then I'd let them in. I could see them. The front of the store was all glass. It was all windows. So, we're sitting in the store behind the counter. A little bit further into the store. We weren't like right on the windows. I'm going to tell you where we were sitting and where the front windows were. See that dumpster right there? Alright, let's get a little bit closer. Right about here. We were sitting here, right, behind one of the counters. We had a couple counters. And that was where the front door was of the store. And the face of the store was all windows. So it's raining out. And this car just comes pulling up in front. And we thought it was one of our friends, like, fucking around and joking and trying to make us laugh or something. We didn't recognize the car. So, we're talking, just, oh, who's that? I want to hear that. It's fucking, I was kind of mad at first. Like, what the fuck, dude? You don't want to do that. It's fucking, you know, I live here. It's my fucking business. You know. I thought one of my friends was being an asshole. So we're both looking to try to see who we can see, who's sitting in the car. And let me just walk over here for a minute. Oh yeah, it's hard to do things. Schizo garage again. So we start looking, and looking in there, we saw like a woman, and she wasn't in the driver's seat, but she wasn't fully on the passenger side either. It was like sort of in the middle. And she had this crazy big mop of hair, almost like Robert Smith from The Cure. Her face was bone white. You know what she looked like? She looked like Death here from Sandman. I have a death tattoo, which I got after the incident. Not because of it, but, you know, it was just, I don't know. I just happened to get a death tattoo after this happened. Or was it before? Who the fuck cares? Point is, she looked like Death. She had bone white face, like as if she had makeup on, and black eyes. You could see her eyes. She had eyes, but she had like big, black, what looked like makeup. So she looked like a female Beetlejuice. I couldn't really see what she was wearing. It was like, it was dark, you know, whatever the colors were. They were dark colors. And it was raining out, you know, but we could see very well right into where she was. It was almost like there was a light on inside the car, like over her, like the car light, like what happens sometimes when people, you know, have a door open or something, the inside of the car. Where am I going to go here? So, we're sitting there looking, and we're kind of used to this kind of thing happening. You know, we, like I said, we have friends that show up all the time. So we're looking at her, and we're both like, "Who the fuck is that?" And he's like, "I don't know." And that's when I first felt the first like shiver going down my back. It wasn't so much that she was scary. She was scary looking, but her presence was affecting us on a physiological level. I started like getting the shakes like you get when you get a chill, maybe when you're cold or something. They have a fever, those fever chills you get. I'm like, I'm putting my shoulders up and wincing, and I'm looking at him. He's kind of doing the same thing. Like, who is that? And then we start laughing. Like, who the fuck is that? We're looking and laughing. And as we're looking at her, she's making faces at us, like smiling and turning her head, like someone that's fucking with you would. And like, still going on in my mind, it's like, is this one of our friends? Is it a joke? No, because my body was feeling like it was experiencing a lot of different stuff at once. It was being, and he was having the same thing. We compared notes later about this stuff. My body felt ways that I can't really explain. I hadn't felt up to that point, and I haven't felt again. Almost like there was a process going on just by viewing her. And she's making these faces, like smiling and like opening her mouth and then turning her head like left and right. Like, and we're freaking out. We're like, what the fuck is that? Now we're laughing, but we're also crying, He has tears in his eyes, I get tears. And I think, what is she doing? He's like, I don't know, she's doing something to us. And we're sitting there like freaking out. And we kept saying like, I can't look at her face. I'm like, I can't either, I don't know. Because when we look at her eyes, it was like her eyes went right through our bodies. Like she was like, had x-ray vision and was moving her eyes around the inside of our bodies and looking at everything. It was penetrating right into us. Never felt something like that in my life. Never felt something like that again. It was happening to both of us. Now this, I don't know exactly how long the whole event went on. There was a bit of a time thing for us because later we were trying to figure it out, and there was like a half hour there that we couldn't contend with, or we were trying to. I remember there was some talk about that, but I don't know exactly what the situation was with that. There was some kind of time fuckery. Or maybe just our brains were in some kind of crisis mode. I don't know. Usually when you have experiences here with, I've had experiences with supernatural beings here, angels, demons and stuff. A lot of times you don't recognize what they are until you're on your way. And you can look back at it later. Not so much with demons anymore. With demons, that passed, and I can kind of look for them and listen for them. With the angels, though, it was like that. The angel. The different times I've talked to the angel. Once with me and Nia, once on my own. And the first time, I blew him off, thinking he was just some fucking weirdo. But that's another story. That one's got to come around, too. And, yeah, it was, her eyes could see right through our bodies. And, yeah, we're crying, laughing, going, oh, no. Every time we're looking at each other. And every time one of us would go look over at her, we'd go, oh, no. Because we'd look at her and her eyes would, like, lock with ours. Like, and I can't really explain it. But, so we're trying not to look at her, but we're being compelled to look at her. And then, at some point, I'm like, I'm going over there. And he's like, no. So I get up, and I start walking toward the door. There's a little staircase that goes down. There was a 2-tier floor situation. Who gives a fuck? But I walk down a little flight of stairs, and I start heading toward it. And he's screaming like, no. Now, I don't know if this is like incredible courage or if she's pulling me there. At the time, that was later. thinking that kind of thing, talking it over with him. I think we talked about it for like 2 years after that to anybody that would listen. I don't know what other people thought. I mean, I'm sure some of them were just like, yeah, they were just high. They were probably taking acid or something. But I was so glad that he was there to witness this too. And I've been lucky with that. Like in a lot of these supernatural experiences, I'm with someone, because if I wasn't, I could convince myself that I was just tripping. Dog. You know what I mean? Like I was just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like me and Craig, when we told the story about that flotilla of spirits that put on a fucking ghost party for us that night, right there in the water. He was there. We watched the whole thing. A couple hours till the sun came out. That was fucked. We have a video about it. Me and him right here in Schizo Garage talking about it. And so I walk over toward this thing, and I'm horrified, I'm like, I've never been this scared. It was the kind of fear beyond any fear, almost to the point where it wasn't even fear. This is like a whole different thing. You can get afraid. I've been afraid of other things happening or bad situations. Oh, here come the cops, or maybe some kind of thing I'm trying to avoid, or, this wasn't the regular kind of fear. This was like some kind of mortal terror, like something that speaks to you on a very, very deep level. It wasn't something that we're supposed to see, And so I walk over to the door. I'm walking over there, and he's screaming no. I'm crying and still giggling. I'm looking up at her face periodically and going, ah! I'm looking away. And going, ah! And the whole time she's like what I said. She's just opening her eyes really wide, smiling, big smile. Like she's fucking with us. And moving her head around, shaking her hair. Like, it was fucking weird. So, I get up to the door, and now I'm like, all right, let me see. Here's the door right here, right? She's right there in the car. And I'm looking at her. And it's raining out. And as I'm looking at her, I'm trying to look at her and not look right at her eyes. So I'm kind of looking at her body. And I go to open the door, and I notice someone else is in the car. And like, what? Someone. And then I look again, and in the car is the couple who lives upstairs from me, my neighbors. They're in the car and they're fighting. They're having some kind of, some lover's quarrel, hence the way they pulled up. Like they're angry, like, now they're yelling at each other, fuck you, whatever they're saying. And the lady was nowhere to be found. Like she never existed. I don't know if it was exactly a demon. I mean, the black eyes and white face does match up. A lot of times when you see demons here, when people catch them on film or on video, they appear that way, But usually it's like less defined, like the train video that I have. Excuse me, that I talked about all the time. That I posted on the channel. I have it downloaded. I should see if I could just put it up on the channel. But anyway, it's a video where a guy was filming a homeless guy ranting, yet around him were demons. And when you catch them on camera here, whether it be film or photos, because you can for some reason, I don't know why, but you can, they're always white. And they always have like black hair and black eyes. That's just how they're seen here, because you can't see them with the naked eye here. They're incorporeal. They're looking for bodies, actually. So like what you're looking at when you're seeing them in their true form isn't really their true form. It's just a representation that they have at that moment, because they're bodiless. So whatever the case may be, I don't know if she was a demon. I mean, what I figured was because of the planes between the protection between the planes being down due to solstice It makes the worlds thinner. The protection between them gets thinner, and a lot of people end up seeing things, experiencing things, because they're seeing stuff that they normally can't because the veil is thin. I just figured we were seeing a demon in their natural habitat. We were looking into her dimension, and that's why we could see her body. Yeah, and I was like, dude, I walked away from the door and it's so-and-so and so-and-so, whatever their names are, I forget. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, look. And he was afraid to look at first. He looks and it's like, what the fuck? And we're just sitting there, and we were quiet for a real long time. Just I don't know, maybe shock or something. And then we started comparing notes about how we felt and the experience we had. And we had the identical feelings, We told the story to people many times over the years. Occasionally it comes up. I've been talking to him a while, though. I haven't talked to him. I don't think I've talked to him since I moved here, so it's been 10 years. But he's one of those guys that pops up occasionally. I've known him since we were in high school, and we've done music together in bands and stuff. I'm sure at some point, I'll talk to him again. But, yeah, we were telling everyone that would listen to about that story. But I'm telling you, man, that fear, it's it wasn't even fear. It was something beyond that. It was terrifying. Fear was involved. But it was you couldn't hide from this thing. I got the idea that it didn't matter what I did. You cannot hide from this thing. And you think about demons and stuff from other dimensions, and they're kind of trying to look evil or stoic or something. Not this one. This one was laughing at us, making fun of us. But her mouth was too big. Her eyes were too big. Her hair was wild and crazy. Yeah, like Death from Sandman. I had Sandman stuff for a long time too. I got into Sandman in the 80s when it first started. Maybe it was actually 90 even. I think it was going for a little while. And I became obsessed with that character, Death. And I remember reading The High Cost of Living, which was her first kind of solo book. And I loved it. And then I read it recently on the DC comic reader. I subscribe to that thing. We can read any published comic I use my Android pad for it. And that's pretty cringy. It's real cringy. I'm reading it ugh, I like this. Things were different then now. We hadn't seen as many things, and we hadn't been exposed to many. I still like the character. But, yeah, they actually had the Sandman TV show, right? And now that's supposed to be a goth chick. All those people in Sandman were based on different musicians from the kind of post-punk goth scene back then. You got Peter Murphy. Death was part from Susie and the Banshees, Susie Sue. And you have a guy that had Bowie kind of. It was all those bands from that kind of era in England where Neil Gaiman was from. Neil Gaiman, yeah, I only had I met him a couple times. He seemed cool though. He's in a lot of trouble now. I'm not a big fan of his wife. I have some funny stories about her and him, but that's going to be another bit. See, that's the thing. I start going and I think about all these other things, and then, But the thing is, with them, it's kind of borders on being gossipy. But yeah, I always liked him. Don't like her too much. But yeah, that's the demon story. That was probably the first experience I had that was clearly supernatural. I've had other experiences that were it was almost like the Goldilocks thing, it could be this or it could be that, or this was clearly something from another realm, And I never had something like that happen again. I never felt a fear like that again. got to remove my fear when I came back to him this last time. When I came back to him, period. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, I don't get afraid. And that's why I like it. It was because I thought, like, I went so hard into the chasing demons around thing. Because when I first started experiencing them and talking to them, I'm like, oh, this must be my thing. I'm supposed to do this. That's why he took fear from me, and it's not. No, I guess not, because I don't get them at all anymore. I mean, I don't even remember the last time. I've had some that I thought were demons, and it turns out they were just street mutants, you know. Whatever. I'm still looking. I'm not out of that game yet, but whatever. All right, I'm gonna go up. I think we're done here for now. Thanks for joining me, and if you stuck all the way for that story, thank you. I appreciate it. It's kind of, you know, sometimes it's hard to listen to me because I fucking go off in 10 different directions. Every other sentence, like a couple doors open where I could go with the next couple sentences, and sometimes I can't resist them. And then next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. You know, it's like it's the train leaving the station. I leave on track B. Somewhere along the way, I jump over to track C. I get back there on track D. It's hard to keep my thoughts straight, you know. But yeah, thanks for checking in. Hope to see you again. Until next time, don't blame the teacher, blame the school. Yeah, just telling that story. After I turned the camera off, I just like leaned against the wall here for like a couple minutes and just stared straight out there. It affected me thinking about it. You know, it turned on whatever stuff was turned on. Like, I don't know what just happened, but I feel like tired now after telling that story. It's kind of weird. I'm not gonna cry. I'm just saying. You know, I feel weird after fucking unloading the information.